Hey everyone, this is Stefan from ProjectLifeMastery.com, and today I'm being joined by my beautiful girlfriend Tatiana, and today we're going to talk to you guys about jealousy, how to overcome jealousy in a relationship, something that I know that a lot of people go through and a lot of people deal with. And Tatiana and I have been together now for over 4+ years, and I can honestly say within that time frame that there's hardly been any moments that I can think of actually having jealousy in our relationship, and I think vice versa. And there's certain things that we want to explain to you guys that allow us to be so confident in our relationship. Certain principles that can allow you to be more confident in yourself, because I think it's important to understand that jealousy, all it really is fear. It's a fear-based emotion, it's insecurity. And oftentimes it has nothing to do with the other person. You know, you might see the other person getting all this attention from someone, or maybe someone approach that person, or you see that person with someone else having an interaction, and it evokes a certain emotion within you. It makes you feel insecure. It makes you feel jealous. It elicits an emotional reaction from you. And one thing that I've learned is that oftentimes when these external events happen in our lives, and they elicit these emotional responses within us, it's our job to explore that. It's our job to really look at ourselves, not blame the other person. Oh my God, you can't wear that, or you got approached by this person. Why were you talking to that person? That only further perpetuates the problem and actually makes you less attractive to the other person and creates more conflict. Instead, when you take a step back and you look at yourself and you ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What about this triggered me to respond and react in this way? Where is this fear coming from? What is this fear? You define it, you identify it, you find out what's going on within you, because in life you can't control the external world. There's always going to be things that are going to happen around you. You have no control of whatsoever. You have no control over the weather. You have no control over whether that person cuts you off in traffic. You have no control over the economy. The only thing you have control over is your inner world and how you react and respond to these things. So if someone does something or says something and it triggers you to feel angry or frustrated or insecure or jealous, that's something that you're responsible for, that you have to look at how you can overcome that. How can you overcome this fear and what's going on within you so that you can improve it? Because I believe that we can improve any aspect of ourselves, any aspect of our lives. And it really, what it does is these moments, they shine a spotlight on our weaknesses, our insecurities, our fears, for us to have the opportunity to overcome them and grow from them. Tatiana is obviously a very beautiful person, and she gets approached all the time. We go out in public and, you get approached almost every day by someone, and she has a lot of people, look at her and stare at her. And even online, of course, you have people leave certain comments, and she's also an online influencer, so she gets a lot of DMs and inappropriate things and all that sort of stuff from guys. And for me, I think there's a few different factors that we'll discuss that don't make me feel jealous about that in any way, shape, or form. And I think the first thing is confidence in you, first and foremost. When you have confidence in who you are, you know your value, you know your worth, then oftentimes these things don't affect you that much. And there's a difference between, it kind of sounds a little bit egotistical in a way, but I think there's a difference between confidence and arrogance, and I'll describe what that is. But I just have a confidence within myself that I'm worth it, that I have a lot of value that I can provide to Tatiana that nobody else can. I believe in the connection that we have, the love that we have, the passion. Again, it sounds egotistical, but I believe that there's no better match on this planet for her than me, and I'm sure she feels the exact same way, because we just feel that we have such a soul connection that is eternal in a way. And whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. Maybe there is someone better for both of us, but that belief empowers us. It serves us in our relationship. It gives us that confidence and gives us that certainty and that security in our relationship. One simple exercise that you can do to kind of identify what your value is make a list. Write down what makes you valuable. What makes you a great catch? Why are you special? Why What can you offer your partner that nobody else can? And when you really realize that and you understand your value, oftentimes now you don't live in scarcity, you don't live in fear. You have an abundance mentality that you believe that, as the saying goes, that there's plenty of fish in the sea. If, one doesn't work out with one, there's another one around the corner. It's that mindset of confidence that I think that it starts with you creating yourself. And I think that's also been the result of doing exactly what I've shared with you guys, where you identify if you do have a reaction, what is that fear? What is that belief that's making you feel that way? And overcoming it. And there's a million different self-improvement strategies and techniques and things you can do for that. But constantly overcoming those things and understand it's not the other person, it's you being triggered. And it could be an insecurity of getting hurt in the past that you haven't resolved from. Maybe you haven't forgiven someone that, broke your heart or cheated on you or lied to you, whatever it is. But you got to understand the past does not equal the future. That just because something happened a year ago or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you can't keep living your life in the past. And so it's learning just to have that emotional comfort, that emotional security and confidence in yourself. And when you evolve that, oftentimes petty things like that don't really affect you. They don't really bother you that much. So I'd say first having that confidence in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, likewise, maybe Stefan doesn't get as many inappropriate messages as I do, but he's a man, and men have needs, and I think for a lot of men, a big need is variety. And Stefan's in a committed relationship, but as a man, he may be attracted to some other woman. We might be out and he might be looking at someone else, or he might even have desires for other women. And I could easily get very jealous over something like that, or if he expressed that to me, I could lash out in anger and hurt and resentment. But I understand that it's a need, and I have so much confidence in the relationship that it doesn't cause me to feel jealous. There's so much trust built up between us that if I see him having an interest in someone else, or just looking at someone else, it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't affect me in any way, because I trust a relationship. I have confidence in a relationship. And I believe that, if any desires are to be, taken seriously, that would be communicated in the relationship. And when you have that type of really great trust, you're able to communicate anything without fear of being turned down, without fear of being mocked, without fear of your girlfriend getting angry at you. So we know that we're able to communicate whatever it is that we need in the relationship, and so that even builds more trust, and it's kind of a ripple effect. So there's just a huge confidence level.
Yeah, because oftentimes the jealousy in a relationship, not just being a insecure person or fear-based person, but also if the relationship, both people, they don't have a high level of certainty, they don't have that need of certainty being met at a level 10, for example, because there's one thing maybe for another video, but there's 6 human needs. That one thing that Tony Robbins teaches, there's a need for certainty, variety, significance, love, growth, and contribution. And certainty is a very important one. That if your level of certainty in the relationship out of a scale from 1 to 10 is a 2 or a 3 or 4 or 5, and you're not very certain, you don't have that security, you don't have that trust, that bond, that connection, then yeah, if you have an uncertain relationship, then you're going to be affected by these things a lot more. They're going to be amplified. But when you have level 10 certainty in a relationship, that you give each other that reassurance, that you know that this person is going to be in your life forever. This person, you know who they are, you know their soul, you know their heart. They know that they, are part of you and you're a part of them. You don't really question it that much. You don't have those fears. You don't have those doubts. You don't have those worries. And that's something that in a relationship you have to build. You have to build that level of trust. You have to build that certainty, that confidence in one another. For me, I just have so much certainty and confidence. I'm not worried if Tatiana is going to talk to another guy or anything like that. It doesn't affect me because I have that certainty in the relationship and vice versa. So I think just creating that certainty and that confidence in your relationship with your partner, and you also touched on the communication piece. We have such a strong relationship that we can communicate anything. There's nothing off the table. We don't have any judgment, and that's why, because if I have a certain desire, I have an issue, I have a problem, I have a temptation or whatever it might be, I don't feel shame, and vice versa. We allow each other to express or share and communicate it without the shame, without guilt, because it's human nature. We all biologically are going to have
we're not naive to think that we're not going to be attracted to other people.
It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a safe place without judgment, without criticism, where we allow each other to talk and discuss it and to help and serve each other, to understand one another, and to help grow the relationship. If I had a moment of jealousy, I would express that to her and talk, and knowing that she's not gonna get mad and like, what are you talking about? But actually having that safe place where, I could say, hey, this affected me, this hurt me, whatever it is, and you can talk about it, discuss it, and both grow from it. And actually when you do talk about things and you just express them, in a safe place, you further give each other the reassurance and the certainty, which makes your relationship stronger.
Yeah.
And that's the key. It's always getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So you don't really have to worry as much about those things as they come up.
Mm-hmm. And just from a female's perspective, from my point of view, for me, if he was to approach me, say, Tatiana, I have been feeling attracted to other women lately. Well, if now all of a sudden I react to that and I say, oh my gosh, how dare you? I provide everything for you. I do this and that. And I start yelling at him and causing conflict and argument. Well, all of a sudden he's not going to feel like he can approach me with anything in the future. And so when he doesn't feel like he can talk to me about it, that's when things happen where someone might go behind your back, or they just don't have that trust built in the relationship. So I think it's very important to just realize, okay, it's how I react to what's being said right now. It's how I'm reacting to the situation. It's not what's happening, it's my reaction to it. Yeah. And so for me, I just try and remind myself that we're in a committed relationship. I love him, he loves me. We have so much trust, and we're partners for life. And no matter what comes about, let's just discuss it, and coming from a place of love and not a place of anger and resentment, and never just make someone feel guilty for the way they're feeling. Because like I said, he has needs, I have needs, and I should never feel guilty for feeling a certain way.
Yeah, and when you talk about things, as I said, it builds more trust. But when you don't talk about things, it hurts the trust. Yeah. If Tatiana goes out and she's out with her friends drinking or whatever, and then guys are approaching her and they're trying to kiss her and they're trying to do inappropriate things and all that, she'll come back. You'll actually tell me about your experiences. You'll tell me, oh hey, this guy came up to me in a coffee shop and whatever. And there's no emotional reaction from it in any way. We just kind of laugh about it or talk about it or whatever. But I know that she's sharing these things with me. I'm not judging her for sharing them. I'm not getting upset. I'm not reacting. I'm not making her feel guilty or anything like that, and vice versa. So I think the communication piece is so important and so powerful. And one more thing I want to share is just around an abundance mentality. This is something that really served me, and I've shared it a few times before. I actually learned this from a great analogy from a mentor of mine, Zan, who taught me this early on when I was 18 years old, first learning about dating and relationships. And he had this one analogy that really kind of opened up my eyes to a different mindset in a relationship. So the analogy is like this: a woman or a man is like a butterfly that's landed in your hand. Okay, it's a beautiful butterfly. It's right there in your hand, and it's gorgeous. It's amazing. You want to cherish it. You want to appreciate it. You might want to curl up your fingers a little bit to protect it from the wind. And that butterfly, it's beautiful. You want to be with it. And oftentimes what a lot of people do when they have attracted this person in their life, a man or a woman, is they go like this, and they try to suffocate that person. They try to be jealous and insecure and all these rules. You can't do this, you can't do that. Where were you this weekend? Where were you last night? You didn't call me back. All this sort of stuff, right? They suffocate it. Now, if you do that, what's going to happen to that butterfly? The butterfly is going to be trapped. It's going to be resentful. It might even die. It might even leave. And that's the worst thing that you can do. When you have these emotions, when you have this jealousy, when you have these, that's what you see a lot of people do. They become overly protective, they become very strict, they become controlling of their partner, very domineering of them. And so instead what I've learned is that butterfly, you have to just be okay and comfortable with that butterfly just being there. And that butterfly, it could leave. That man or woman, they could leave you. You have to be okay with that though. You have to be comfortable with that. Because it's only when someone has the freedom to leave that they will stay. It's very important. It's only when you give someone the freedom to leave that they will stay with you. But if you don't give them that freedom, then that's the beginning of the end right there. So the way that I view things is an abundance. Tatiana is her own person. She has the right to be happy in life. And that's what I want for her. If she would rather be happier with someone else than me, then I'd want that for you. If it ever came to that, you're happier with someone else, I want you to be, you're not like dead, it's like, I'm not gonna inhibit your happiness. And I want you to be happy and vice versa. And when you're in that relationship where you want the best for each other, that I want her to be happy. She has the freedom to pursue happiness in her life and vice versa. We're not controlling, we're not, each other's slaves or anything like that. When you give each other that freedom and you have that mindset, I think it's just very empowering to support that person in their own happiness and that joy. And having the abundance mentality in life, that everything always works out and everything is abundant, and not living that fear and that scarcity. And that, it's not to say that the advice that we give you guys that you might not get hurt again, or that person might, you might trust that person fully and have that certainty and love them, and they might still, break your heart or cheat on you or lie to you, whatever it might be. And that's okay. It's still having that mentality that, it's better to know early on and maybe end things early on if it's not the right fit than spending years with that person and then later finding that out at a later point. So when you're not trying to control things as much, you're not trying to control the outcome, and you just allow yourself to have that abundance mentality and just love and support and trust, it is scary from time to time, but the benefits and the rewards are far more worth it, because as the saying goes, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. So you have to be willing to take that risk.
Yeah, and I liked what you said about, Stefan is his own person, I'm my own person, and I don't put any rules or restrictions on him. He's a human being, he's an adult, he can make decisions for himself. So I don't say that, you can't go out drinking with your friends, or you can't do this on the weekend, or you can't be with that person, or do this with that person. Like, he can decide what he wants to do with his life, and I believe that he has enough maturity to make the smart decisions based on his values and based on the trust in our relationship. So by not putting so many limitations on him, it allows him to be, again, more open with me. So I feel like that's an important thing in our relationship, because we don't tell each other, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that. And I've been in relationships where that was the case, where, you can't wear this, or you can't look like this, or you can't go out past this time. And that's like extremely limiting, and that's when the butterfly feels crushed, and that's when she wants to leave. And same thing with a man, when you limit a man and you tell him you can't do this and I don't want you to do this, well, a man never wants to be told what to do. And especially in a relationship, I think. And so I don't tell him what to do, but I know he always makes educated and smart decisions, and he's a committed person.
You trust each other,
Yeah.
the decisions that one another makes.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It can benefit you guys. But as we both discussed, it's just a constant growth. Growth of yourself individually, growth as a relationship with your partner, always improving, always growing. We've always going to events and seminars and reading books and trying to look at ways, even hiring coaches and whatnot, so that we can always improve our relationship and improve ourselves. And when you have that level of trust and that confidence, that certainty in your relationship and your partner, it just makes life so much easier. It's just a lot happier. So that's what we wish for you guys, and hopefully this video can benefit you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you want more videos like this, subscribe for more videos as well. If you want to check out Tatiana, she has a YouTube channel called Lex Health. Check that out, I'll link to that in the description. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.